Hello, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And today is another episode of West Ham Throwbacks. Now, we're going to take another look at another saga at this club and just reminisce. That's what we did with the Marko Arnautovic one. You guys seemed to enjoy it. So did I. And that was last Thursday. However, we're going to talk about more stuff that happened within mainly the Premier League era, I'd say. Of West Ham, the funny sagas, the good sagas, the bad sagas, and all the above, pretty much. Today is about a player that never signed for West Ham, but West Ham nearly signed. Before we get into the full video, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe if you're new. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you can make that happen, that'll be great. Thank you for the support as of recent as well. Now, William Carvalho, you may know him for only signing for teams in green kits, because the only teams I really know him for is Sporting Lisbon and Real Betis. He signed for Betis in 2018. He now plays under Manuel Pellegrini. I think he's still at Betis. But there was a saga in the 17-18 season, for example, where West Ham United would ironically sign an Arnautovic, but also a Zabaleta, a Jose Font, etc. That was the second full season in the London Stadium after really being a mid-table sort of team within the first season. Not really fearing relegation. There was only ever so slight fears of relegation at times. But in the 17-18 season, it was the season where we'd hope that we'd sign smarter players after the terrible 16-17 transfer window under David Gold and Sullivan and Brady and the agents that we typically seem to use throughout that era. And just signing players because they are names and having that relationship between whoever the sporting director was at the time. I don't think there was a proper sporting director, the board, and the manager at the time, Slaven Bilic. Now, obviously, we had a terrible transfer window in the 16-17 season. We had to make that up in the 17-18 season. So we signed a few players, but one position that West Ham were looking for was a midfielder. Now, I don't actually think West Ham actually signed a midfielder that year, which ended up biting us in the arse a bit, because Noble wasn't having his best season that season. Obiang wasn't great that season. Checo Kouyaté had probably his worst season at West Ham and his last season at West Ham, despite having a few good seasons before that. But one of the targets was William Carvalho. Now, West Ham tried, well, it was alleged that West Ham were interested. That was pretty much like the main target talk throughout the whole window. Like, we couldn't stop hearing like William Carvalho. It was pretty much this window's Carlos Bacca, where West Ham nearly signed Carlos Bacca in throughout the 16-17 season. And it never happened. I'm still waiting for him to do his medical in 2024. It was 8 years ago. And that never happened either. We were meant to sign his top striker. We ended up signing Caleri and Zaza on loan, who both flopped at the club. Don't get me wrong, they were both only given one season, but none of them had any sort of intangibles that you could believe in at the time. It wasn't like a Haller or a Scamacca where they had intangibles. They weren't terrible players. But with William Carvalho, there was a war of words between West Ham and Sporting Lisbon. I'm reading the article now. I'm not going to say the website because I don't like the website. Now, the Sporting president was Bruno de Carvalho. On Wednesday, he referred to West Ham owners David Gold and David Sullivan, some of you guys may know already, as the Dildo Brothers. Now, some of you guys already know this if you're a West Ham fan. Some of you will already know about the Dildo Brother era. If you don't get the reference, I'm pretty sure David Sullivan has shares in a sex shop or some shit. Or Sullivan Gold, and I'm pretty sure Vanessa Gold, rest in peace, was selling underwear and stuff. So, like, that was the market they were in. So I'm pretty sure that's why they were called that. And that was in an interview with Sporting TV, according to Portuguese newspaper Record Portugal. You might know them from reporting very false transfer news right now. They said Agate was going to Chelsea, I'm pretty sure. He ended up going to PSG. The Hammers proposed a 23 million deal for the Portugal midfielder, broke down before the transfer window closed last week. And typical West Ham, they left it right at the end of the transfer window after having the saga built throughout the whole summer. Sporting claim West Ham had never submitted an official bid for Carvalho, leading the Hammers de Val to sue the Portuguese club. Now I actually believe Sporting in this situation because it's typical David Sullivan at the time. Like, let's be honest, like them, what's it, phantom bids? That's why people still refer to some of the transfers that we may sign as phantom bids, like, you know, the people that are still very vocal about the GSP stuff. And I get why they wouldn't still trust David Sullivan, because I don't either. I never will. I want him gone. I always want him gone, but he's not going anytime soon, unfortunately. And his son has even said that himself. You can't see him retiring anytime soon. That's unfortunate. And it's probably, and even after Sullivan is not at West Ham anymore, it'll probably be passed down to his son, which is also very unfortunate. But yeah, in this situation, I would believe Sporting, just because that's why people refer to when West Ham throw a bid out there, and it's mainly leaked to the media. You know, so what Sullivan is like with his leaks to the media, especially to certain radio stations and stuff, with certain ties and certain people that he's quite associated with in the media and stuff like that, where they slander West Ham, but they would defend a David Sullivan, a David Gold when he was alive, and stuff like that. And that's why West Ham gets slandered on certain stations and certain stuff, even though every club does get slandered. Don't get me wrong, it's not just West Ham, but that is the reason why West Ham does get slandered. But yeah, so it kind of moved on, but obviously West Ham vowing to sue the Portuguese club, that doesn't really make you any more innocent, if I'm being honest. So, sporting director then hit out at David Sullivan and David Gold, while Sky Sports News claimed to have obtained emails that prove West Ham did indeed bid for Portugal star Carvalho. I mean, Sky Sports, they defended David Sullivan and David Gold at the time, but you never know. You never know what could happen. You never know whether that bid was real or not. We still don't really know. I don't know about if their ex-West Ham employee reported at the time. I only really found out about ex-West Ham employee like 3 years ago. Instead of spouting off, West Ham's offer should be shown. Where is it? What proof is there? Said De Carvalho on Sporting TV. What has happened here? The chairman, who he was referring to, David Sullivan, is very happy with the coach, Slaven Bilic. He was the person who wanted William. The man wanted to give the coach the player he wanted as much as I want to give a Christmas gift to my enemy. I did not want to give you anything. So that's why people were so angry, though, at the owners at the time, because it's always like put out there, like, oh, we're trying to back the manager and all that. Even though I wanted Slaven Bilic out later in that season, it's not like the owners were, you know, backing the managers, really. Like, don't get me wrong, I still think Bilic and Pellegrini could have got more out of the squad that they had at the time. But it's not like they were backed with players that they wanted. West Ham supporters call Mr. David Sullivan and his brother the Dildo Brothers. Sure, I did hear about the nickname a bit before this Portuguese stuff happened, but it was kind of popularised due to this very funny saga. Sullivan and Gold are not related, but are long-standing business partners. Sporting's latest derogatory remarks aimed at West Ham's follow their communications director accusing Sullivan of being a liar and a parasite in a Facebook post. This got so toxic that he ranted about David Sullivan in a Facebook post. No sooner had Sporting director De Carvalho called out West Ham to produce proof of their offer on Wednesday, though the Sky Sports obtained emails apparently showing precisely that. The email Sky Sports published detail an offer €25 million to be paid in 3 installments across 24 months. See, that's very cheap for someone like Carvalho at the time. It was very highly thought of if that bid is true. Obviously, he was 25 at the time. I wouldn't take Carvalho now. I haven't watched him in a couple of years. Writing his personal on his personal Twitter account, owner's son David Sullivan Jr. Was that not Jack Sullivan? David Sullivan has 2 kids. West Ham are commencing legal proceedings against the communication director of Sporting Lisbon as a written offer for the player that was made to Bruno De Carvalho, the president of Sporting Lisbon, to say we have never made an offer. It's nonsense and serious libel. Or libel, I don't know how to pronounce that word. But that's the thing, like, that was what was reported around the 6th of September in 2017. Now, it came out by Sky Sports on the 5th of December 2017 that West Ham say friendly relations with Sporting Lisbon have resumed. I assume this was just a bit of PR to try and get back in communication, mainly because I think we probably wanted another player from Sporting. I don't know who it was. And we haven't done business with Sporting since, obviously, we tried to get Ruben Amorim in the summer. But people seem to believe that was fake news, some weird Portuguese site. But it wasn't fake. We would never pay for a plane for Chelsea to interview Amorim. Simple as that. West Ham say friendly relations with Sporting Lisbon have resumed after following a war of words over the potential transfer of William Carvalho in the summer. This is an article by Sky Sports. It said in September, the Hammers said they were pursuing. I can't read. They were pursuing legal action against Sporting's communications director Nuno Saraiva. So it wasn't De Carvalho then. After he claimed that the club received no proposals from West Ham for Carvalho, while also making controversial remarks about co-chairman David Sullivan. So that was the guy's name. Okay, maybe the other article got it wrong then. Sky then revealed that 2 emails which appeared to show Sullivan's different offers for the player, but no deal for Carvalho was forthcoming in the end as communications broke between the two clubs down. However, West Ham say that relations between the two clubs are now back on friendly terms. The fact that they actually had to put a statement out to know that, oh, by the way, we're all good now. Like it's very snide what these owners do and stuff to try and call words and try and get transfers over the line. But this was all over a midfielder that was not average, but just above average at the time. But it was very highly thought of at the time. Very high, above average in general, but highly thought of at the time. But it is what it is. Like, that was the only midfielder they seem to have on their list. I don't remember West Ham going after many midfielders after that. Not even of midfielders of the same profile either. So that's what really confused me at the time is you go for one midfielder and that's it. A West Ham statement, this is what they put in their statement. West Ham and Sporting acknowledged that a breakdown of communication based on contacts between representatives from both clubs in respect of a possible transfer of William Carvalho was the cause of a misunderstanding. That's a load of nonsense. Subsequent to this, the clubs have held positive communications and the matter is now resolved. And it ends with, on this basis, friendly relations between the clubs will resume and there will be no barriers to both clubs negotiating or working together in the future. But here's what I want to talk about here. If I was to go to the West Ham 17-18 season, I accidentally typed in 29. Let me go there. And if I was to look at, let's say, did we face Dagenham Redbridge? We did face Dagenham Redbridge, but that was in March. Don't know why we faced them in March. I don't remember why that was. But I'm trying to find like the transfers. So the transfers in the summer, there was only 5. And none of them were midfielders. Like this guy, I don't even remember Anwar El Mahassani. He doesn't even count. So really, we signed 3 players. Zabaleta, Arnautovic, and Javier Hernandez. Yes, we needed a striker at the time. Yes, we needed a guy who could play winger and striker at the time in Arnautovic. And yes, we needed a right back. Because Antonio at the time didn't want to play right back. Sam Byram was the only one. He was very injury prone. And Sam Byram wasn't even that bad. And at times, Bilic was playing a 3 at the back with Edmilson Fernandez at right wing back. The problem was Zabaleta was coming to the end of his career. Left Manchester City on a free for a reason. I'm pretty sure Pep came in at this time. And, Pep came in. Wanted different from his fullbacks. He wanted to play them in midfield and stuff. And got Kyle Walker in. Arnautovic was a good signing. Hernandez was actually a good signing. Zabaleta didn't do bad. I actually discussed this with Big Steve on the stream we did for the Man City thing. It wasn't that bad. But if you look at those 3 signings, apart from Haksabanovic was a £2 million signing who was like a breakthrough prospect that never really broke into the team. Like, we didn't sign a midfielder. And even then, we literally sold Nordvald on undisclosed fee after having a terrible season. George Dobson left through the academy, went to Sparta Rotterdam, but I'm pretty sure he went to Charlton later on. Faguli left straight away. Ashley Fletcher left after a year. Even Diafra Sakho left in January. Like, Andre Ayew went back to Swansea. That was if you want me to do the Andre Ayew transfer era, let me know, because I probably will do that anyway. But Let me know what type of West Ham sagas you want me to do. You want me to throw it back to. Not in that way. Pause. Also, by the way, to put this out there, Reece Oxford went out on loan so that can play midfield. Josh Cullen, who was a prospect at the time, went out on loan. Robert Snodgrass went out on loan. I've never rated Robert Snodgrass, but here we are. And the midfielder options we had were Kouyaté, Lanzini, Obiang, Noble. Got Mario in January. Edmilson Fernandez was there. But it wasn't really, like, Kouyaté, Noble, and Obiang didn't really play well in that season, if I'm being real. And we kind of left a hole in midfield. Like, Declan Rice was coming through, but he was mainly playing in the three at the back of the defence. Treated quite harshly by Slaven Bilic, in my opinion. But yeah, we went for William Carvalho, and it never really went into anything. And it ended up being a weird saga where the club actually had to put out a statement to be like, no, we're still on good relations with Sporting. But anyway, make sure to leave a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. The email for the inquiries. And we're trying to hit 500 subscribers before the end of the year. So you can make that happen. That'll be great. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.